Alright, so here I am picking up the rental car from Payless. You know, for a sketchy rental car company, this car is actually not half bad. Alright, so I finally made it to Hershey. Note to self, rental car companies do not like debit cards. Carry a credit card with you. And also some companies like Enterprise want proof of a flight in and return on the same ticket. Even if you have a return flight, they won't rent to you. So that's why I picked some sketchy rental company in Philadelphia. Luckily this car doesn't have too many miles on it. It was a stressful morning, but I'm at Hershey right now. I'm determined to have a good day no matter what. It's looking super crowded today, so I think I'm gonna buy their Fast Pass. You know, Hershey kind of uses the old-fashioned system, but on a day like this, it's worth it. The Candymonium is new for me. Wasn't here last time I was here. But I'm not riding that first. This is how packed the park is. Even the fast track has a line. But it's for Sky Rush, which is probably worth it. Definitely worth it. Let's see how well it holds up as my number one. So the last time I came to Hershey was in 2016. When Sky Rush was still my number one. Lately I've traveled a lot. You know, I've been to Europe. Got all my European credits since then. I still rank Sky Rush as my number one, so I'd love to see how it holds up. So the fast track line is taking a while. Normally wouldn't be too happy about that, but parks are reopening with COVID. There's a big national staffing shortage, so I can forgive a lot more at this time. I'm excited to be in the station of one of the best rides in the world. Just got off Sky Rush. So that's probably the slowest ride on Sky Rush I've ever gotten. Now of course it's still amazing. Still a top 5 ride even at its worst. See? But the airtime was not as strong as I remember it being. I'll ride it a few more times today, see if it holds up, but it might not be my number one anymore. Still a top 5 ride though, no doubt about it. Getting some food right now. I'm insanely hungry after that rental car fiasco this morning. Say I'm hungry enough that I could eat a horse, or those Knoebels alligator nuggets. That'll be tomorrow. So apparently Hershey has walking tacos now. That is a long wait. Waiting for Candymonium. I don't know if I'm expecting too much. I've never been a big B&M Hyper fan, except for Shambhala. But we'll see. Maybe it'll surprise me. So my opinion of Candymonium, it's a B&M Hyper. I rode at the back row, which is usually my favorite row on these rides. I actually think this was one of the lower tier B&M Hypers. This hill looks like it should provide great airtime, but the trim over there hits pretty hard. So the finale is, I think, weaker than it should be. The helix up over here was pretty forceful though. I like the first half, but again, the trim kind of ruins the finale. So I will note the Candymonium double stacks on almost every cycle. Not the worst thing in the world, because it's a short ride, 3 trains on, but if you're going to run 3, you might as well make use of them. This new entry plaza is new to me, and it actually looks quite nice. looks like Storm Runner's down. The Intamin accelerator isn't operating. Allow me to express my absolute shock. Fahrenheit is also down. It's looking good with that coat of paint. Hopefully they'll get this fixed for later in the day. Lightning Racer. A lot of people say this ride's boring, but I remember enjoying it. Here's Lightning Racer. Still enjoyable. But yeah, I remembered it having a lot more airtime than it did. The seal brake run is still going strong. Alright, so what you've heard about Wildcat's probably true. It runs with triangular wheels. I actually think it has a decent layout, but yeah, not a bad candidate for being RMC'd. Still nothing from Fahrenheit. Got off Skyrush again. This time it was later in the day and it was running much better. More like the Skyrush I know. It hurts so good. In line for Super Duper Looper, aka the revolution of the West Coast. Great Bear right now. I think that's a really good ride. Probably one of the more underrated inverts, and I actually quite like the pre-drop helix. And I think its greatest strength is the way it interacts with the pathway. It kind of feels like you're flying over the pathway and interacting well with other attractions, which really adds to the experience on an inverted roller coaster. It's decently intense too. I'd say underrated as far as B&M inverts go. It's interesting to have 3 drop towers that provide 3 different experiences. Let's see. The largest one is a combo tower, kind of like the one at Six Flags Over Texas. So I do love those combo towers. Almost as good as an Intamin tower. Got off Skyrush again. So I rode it earlier and kind of questioned if it really belonged in my #1 spot. But after riding it later in the day, and now that it's warmed up more, now I think it does. So, tentatively, Skyrush is still my #1. And that concludes my day here at Hersheypark. Let's say it was a fantastic day overall, even though I didn't get on every ride. But after the rental car fiasco this morning, I'm glad the day ended on a great note. So now I'm going to check out Chocolate World. This is the crowd of people leaving. The parking lot's probably going to be a nightmare, so I'm going to hang around Chocolate World for a while. And coming up next is Knoebels. There's a line to get into Chocolate World. I don't know if that was the best idea. It's alright. Walk through.
It wasn't even charged.
Oh, we left it.